Based on Banik Barda, in recent days, the spotlight has turned to the anticipated journey of Dr. Yunus to Japan, a diplomatic visit that has stirred lively debate and speculation across South Asian and East Asian geopolitical circles. The timing, context, and perceived objectives of this trip have invited a wide array of interpretations, not just as a standalone event, but as a thread in the broader tapestry connecting Bangladesh, India, China, and Japan. As media headlines swirl, viewers and commentators alike find themselves pondering, what does Dr. Yunus's visit mean for the present and future of regional strategy, connectivity, and alignment? To set the stage, Dr. Yunus's imminent trip to Japan does not stand in isolation. It follows closely on the heels of a visit to China earlier in the year, back in March. In both instances, it seems clear. These interactions go beyond mere ceremonial gestures and reflect ongoing negotiations, influence building, and efforts toward regional recalibration. Indeed, many observers have noted how media outlets and analysts are keen to draw direct comparisons between the two trips, not simply as a matter of itinerary, but as a lens revealing Bangladesh's balancing act between two major Asian powers. One of the dominant narratives emerging from the coverage of the Japan visit is its linkage to India's long-standing aspiration to secure a transport and trade corridor through Bangladeshi territory. For India, with its economic heartland in the east, largely separated from the northeast by the narrow Siliguri corridor, often called the Chicken's Neck, access through Bangladesh is both a logistical dream and a strategic necessity. This desire is not new. Since 2013, various forms of proposals, dialogue, and soft diplomacy have circulated the idea that Bangladesh could play a pivotal role as a connectivity hub, not only for India, but for the larger region. The notion of connectivity itself has become a watchword in diplomatic circles, encompassing not just roads and highways, but railways, seaports, power lines, and even digital infrastructure. The term signals a shift in thinking. Sovereign borders are not meant to be insurmountable barriers, but rather gateways for mutual prosperity, provided the terms of participation are equitable and respectful of national interests. Yet this very notion produces tension, as the actual benefits of such connectivity projects often seem to favor some parties more than others. This brings us to the central puzzle. When analyzing Dr. Yunus's journey to Japan, and its symbolic twinning with the earlier visit to China, many have noted that such sequencing leads to direct comparison. Why, they ask, does the Japanese visit, in particular, prompt insistent references to India and its strategic interests, while the Chinese engagement provokes its own unique set of commentaries? The answer, perhaps, lies in the contrasting philosophies of infrastructure diplomacy that characterize China and Japan, and their relationships with smaller nations like Bangladesh. China, for its part, has invested heavily in Belt and Road Initiative projects, financing highways, ports, and power plants in Bangladesh and throughout the South Asian region. Its willingness to bankroll high-profile projects often comes with few overt political conditions, though critics note that the debt obligations attached can sometimes prove challenging for recipient countries. Bangladesh, like many of its neighbors, has welcomed these investments for the tangible benefits delivered to its economy and its people. However, these same investments have drawn scrutiny from other regional players, who worry about excessive influence or strategic encirclement. Japan, meanwhile, has developed a quieter but no less significant profile as an infrastructure partner. On the surface, Japanese projects tend to move at a slower pace than China's. Yet, they are often accompanied by skills training, technology transfer, and a focus on long-term sustainability. The Japanese approach appeals to countries seeking development that avoids the pitfalls of debt traps and over-reliance on a single creditor. For over a decade now, Japanese investments have formed a key plank in Bangladesh's developmental outlook, particularly since the start of Sheikh Hasina's leadership in 2009. Nowhere is this more evident than in the ongoing project at Matar Bari, a strategic port and energy hub located on Bangladesh's southeast coast. Matar Bari, with Japanese funding and expertise, is slated to become a cornerstone of regional connectivity. It sits strategically close to shipping lanes and could serve as a crucial node for transshipment, not just for Bangladesh, but for landlocked regions in India's northeast, Bhutan, and even Nepal. While this project has always had wider economic ambitions, it is the strategic interest for India, seeking a less vulnerable, more efficient route to its northeastern territories, that have colored much of the public discussion. Media reports, perhaps reflecting both domestic sensitivities in Bangladesh and regional insecurities, highlight how the discourse about connectivity is inseparable from issues of sovereignty, equity, and mutual benefit. Critics wonder whether projects funded under banners such as SASEC, the South Asia Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation Initiative, genuinely serve all partners fairly, or whether they disproportionately cater to India's economic and strategic imperatives, sometimes at the expense of the host country's autonomy. The SASEC initiative, established in 2001, but gaining renewed momentum in the 2010s, is officially a joint platform. Its goals: boosting cross-border trade, energy cooperation, and infrastructure connectivity, sound universally beneficial. However, some analysts argue that the practical execution tends to privilege India, whose economic and political weight within the region is unmatched. For Bangladesh, the calculus is more complex. While the promise of infrastructure enhancement and trade integration is alluring, there remains cautious wariness that participation must not morph into dependency. In this light, Dr. Yunus's visits to China and now to Japan are more than mere diplomatic milestones. They are strategic signaling, both to external partners and to domestic audiences. The visits indicate that Bangladesh is committed to an outward-looking economic policy, one that actively courts investment and partnership from multiple sources, thereby hedging risks and maximizing opportunities. The guiding premise is straightforward. In a connected region, no country can afford to put all its eggs in one basket. By diversifying diplomatic and economic engagements with China, with Japan, and with proximate neighbors like India, Bangladesh strengthens its own negotiating hand. It can draw on the strengths of each partner and ensure that no single actor, however large, wields disproportionate influence over its infrastructure or policy choices. For India, all of this comes at a critical moment. Its aspirations to become a regional and global economic powerhouse require both reliable logistics for its northeastern states and broader access to Southeast Asia. The corridors through Bangladesh, whether highway, rail, or through the deep-sea port at Matar Bari, are not luxuries but strategic necessities. For Delhi, Japanese involvement adds a layer of comfort, given the long-standing excitement, but also caution with which Chinese initiatives are viewed. At the same time, these projects carry immense significance for Bangladesh itself. Improved infrastructure not only serves the region, but also catalyzes domestic growth, creates jobs, and stimulates development in areas that have historically lagged behind. The challenge is to ensure that Bangladesh's own interests, economic autonomy, environmental sustainability, and sovereignty remain at the forefront of every deal and designation. There remains, of course, the unanswered question: is true trilateral cooperation possible? Can Bangladesh, India, and Japan, as some reports suggest, devise arrangements that are genuinely win-win? Could the lessons learned from earlier experiences with Chinese investment guide the terms and expectations of Japanese partnerships? Time will tell. What is certain is that these decisions will shape not only the physical landscape of South Asia, but its economic and strategic postures vis-à-vis the giants of Asia and the world. In summary, Dr. Yunus's journey to Japan marks much more than a diplomatic courtesy. It is a touchstone for the unfolding struggles and synergies over connectivity, sovereignty, and regional alignment. As Bangladesh navigates these opportunities and challenges, carefully balancing relations with China and Japan, and reassessing long-standing associations with India, what emerges is a portrait of a nation seeking not just to participate in, but to help shape the narrative of 21st century Asia. The route forward will demand clarity of vision, strength of negotiation, and, above all, a steadfast commitment to balance national interest with the new realities of a connected world.